Hi guys, and welcome to the fourth, I believe, reading of an MD paper. These have been very strange sessions, I guess, for all of us involved, but today is going to be even stranger than usual. So instead of just reading a paper, it is actually a paper in Spanish. So I don't, well, I speak Spanish, I guess, because it's very similar to Portuguese, so it's very easy for a Portuguese person to understand what's written in Spanish. However, I don't really speak fluently, especially not technically. So what I'll do instead is I'm going to read the paper in Spanish, but I'm going to make all the commentary in English. So I guess if you don't really speak Spanish, it might not really be the video for you. But perhaps the commentary will be helpful enough is for you to grab the core of the paper. I couldn't really find any English translations of these papers, and I was quite keen on finding some comparative studies of existing tools, especially free papers, openly available papers. It's not a lot of them that I could see. So I grabbed these ones, they looked interesting enough. There's a series of these papers actually, this is the first one. We just try to see how this goes, and hopefully we'll add some value. Also my my Spanish is not the best when I'm reading it, I don't think, so I'm not sure if you're a Spanish speaker if you're going to find it the most understandable read, but there you go. So let's start reading. So, un estudio comparativo de dos herramientas MDA, OptimalJ y ArcStyler. Resumen. El desarrollo de software dirigido por modelos es una área que está en su infancia, pero ya han aparecido un buen número de herramientas con la etiqueta MDA. So basically what we're saying here is that the usual spiel we tend to get for MDA, the software is in its, we're still starting MDA really, but there's quite a few tools already. En esta ponencia presentamos los resultados de un trabajo que ha consistido en realizar una comparación de las dos herramientas MDA más extendidas, OptimalJ y ArcStyler. Primero evaluamos cada una de ellas mediante un análisis de propiedades extraídas de la especificación de MDA, desarrollando la aplicación PetStore con cada herramienta. So the paper is going to go through an application called PetStore, and they're going to develop that application with each of the tools, and that's how they're going to propose to do their evaluation. Posteriormente realizamos el estudio comparativo a partir de las mismas propiedades. La comparación ha puesto de manifiesto importantes decisiones de diseño para una herramienta MDA, como son la forma de anotar los el PIM, que el PSM sea implícito o explícito, la naturaleza cerrada o abierta para soportar cualquier tecnología y los mecanismos para la edición y ajuste las transformaciones. Right, this is an interesting point. So what we're saying here is that these, I guess, are the sort of the dimensions which they looked into, and what they consider to be the important dimensions of their analysis. So they came up with the following characteristics, and I think it's probably worthwhile a quick org note on this. So let's just say dimensions of factors, important factors, I guess. And here the authors lists PIM annotations, whether the PSM is implicit or explicit. So I'm quite curious about exactly what is meant by this. Where is my spell checker? Here we go. Implicit or explicit, and well, whether the tool should be open or closed. I mean, we all are on the open source side, so I'm not going to bother with that one. So, introducción. En noviembre de 2000, OMG estableció el framework MDA, Model Driven Architecture, como el nuevo paradigma de creación de software en el que los modelos guían todo el proceso de desarrollo. La idea principal que subyace en MDA es separar la especificación de la funcionalidad de un sistema de software de los detalles sobre cómo se lleva a cabo en una determinada plataforma, de manera que los desarrolladores desarrolladores, de developers, escriben modelos centrados en la lógica de la aplicación y de forma automática se genere el código con los detalles propios de una plataforma. A este nuevo paradigma se le ha denominado ingeniería de modelos o desarrollo dirigido por modelos. There's a couple of points here that are interesting. Quite like the separating the of course this is all sort of fairly standard stuff, but let's just capture that point given that we haven't got it anywhere. MDA principles. We do have an MDA paper that we have to reread again, but separate, maybe split even. Split the specification from the functionality of a software system. So we're trying to split the specification from the functionality of software system. Separar la especificación de la funcionalidad de un sistema de software de los detalles. Okay, so we're trying to split the specification of the functionality of a software system from the implementation details. Sadly, some of these things are kind of slightly more obvious once you see it in English, unfortunately, given that I'm not used to doing technical work in either Portuguese or Spanish. But really what we're saying here is what everyone always says about MDA really, is that we're trying to split specification from implementation, so that we can automatically generate implementations. Of course, this never quite works in practice fully unless it's something really fairly straightforward. And the idea then is that developers are focusing more on the logic of the application, and then in a generic way, sort of an automatic way, we generate the model. So don't really add very much to the standard model-driven spiel, I guess. MDA se fundamenta en la arquitectura de 4 capas de OMG, en la que MOF es el lenguaje de metamodelo a partir del que se pueden definir lenguajes de modelado como UML. El proceso MDA se basa en transformar los modelos independientes de detalles de implementación, modelo PIM, en otros que se aportan los aspectos específicos de una plataforma concreta, modelo PSM, hasta llegar al modelo final, esto es el código fuente. So here we're just basically saying that there's the notion of a PIM, there's the notion of a PSM, and eventually you have software, the final software, so source code that gets generated, and the idea with MDA is to try to separate all these four things. So we have a language that enables us to talk about metamodels, which is MOF. MOF permite definir formalmente los lenguajes de modelado y las transformaciones entre modelos, de manera que se puedan construir compiladores de modelos. The idea is to generate model compilers. Although having said that, this is something I would be very interested in somebody formally defining what exactly is a model compiler. So MDA focuses on the creation of model compilers, but we have not yet found a formal definition of what one is. It is clearly, good spell, clearly related to the transformations from SIM, which we shall see in a minute, presumably PIM, PSM, etc. And SIM, of course, is a computation independent model we haven't mentioned yet, but I'm sure will come soon because it's very it's part of the standard MDA stack, really. MOF permite definir formalmente los lenguajes de modelado, okay, we read that bit already, al igual que se sucedió con los lenguajes de programación. El desarrollo dirigido por modelos supone un nuevo paso para aumentar el nivel de abstracción y la automatización. También es posible reconocer el nuevo paradigma, una evolución de los generadores de aplicaciones que tan importante papel ha jugado en las dos últimas décadas. Okay, not much to get from here. The idea is that we are trying to abstract ourselves more and more, similar to a process that's already happened in programming in general, and we can see this new paradigm being applied to the next generation of tooling that's coming around. Aunque está claro que el desarrollo de software dirigido por modelos es un área que está en su infancia, ya ha aparecido un buen número de herramientas con la etiqueta MDA. En este trabajo presentamos los resultados de un estudio comparativo de las dos herramientas de MDA más extendidas, OptimalJ y ArcStyler. Primero se ha realizado una evaluación individual de cada herramienta mediante un análisis de características análogo al empleado en DOS para evaluar OptimalJ. So, at this point in time, now we have to remember we are traveling back to 2006, I believe. Can't see it from here, but something like that. The tools that were all the rage were OptimalJ and ArcStyler. There's also Andromeda, which they mentioned in a different paper, Androm MDA. But these are the tools they're using for this paper. Primero se ha realizado una evaluación individual de cada herramienta mediante un análisis de características análogo al empleado en DOS. We read this already. Después se ha contrastado los resultados de cada herramienta. El caso práctico elegido para probar las capacidades de las dos herramientas fue PetStore, una versión completa del documento elaborado con parte de este estudio puede encontrarse acá. And then they give us an address to where to find the document with all the analysis. Este artículo se organiza de la siguiente manera. Primero, presentamos los criterios de comparación. En las dos secciones siguientes describimos brevemente OptimalJ y ArcStyler. A continuación, presentamos el estudio comparativo y por último las conclusiones. Okay, it's very standard format. And there's not much we can get out of this really. Let's just try to get into the criteria of comparison. Hopefully this will give us a bit more of what we're looking for. So, criterios de comparación. Durante la fase del trabajo en la que nos ocupamos de la identificación de las dimensiones y criterios de evaluación de herramientas de MDA, tuvimos conocimiento de la publicación de los resultados de una interesante evaluación de la herramienta OptimalJ. En dicho estudio, this first paragraph, what we're talking about is that whilst they were doing their work, they found an interesting evaluation of OptimalJ. En dicho estudio se aplicó una metodología de análisis de características y se eligió un conjunto de propiedades extraídas de la especificación de MDA. En la tabla ON aparece una relación de estas propiedades a la que se ha añadido P15, 16 y 17. Nuestro estudio comparativo se ha realizado a partir de estas propiedades. Por limitaciones de espacio no se describe cada propiedad, aunque entendemos que su nombre y el análisis presentado en la sección 5 clarifican su significado. So this is very interesting. So this study that was made, that I mentioned previously, kind of gave them sort of a set of properties that they consider to be really core when you're analyzing a tool. And it will be interesting to apply these very same properties in this kind of this model of analysis to our own tool, really, because we are kind of trying to understand where we sit in the ecosystem. So they've already done all the hard work trying to define what they think is important in terms of properties. We could take advantage of this and then do our own characterization of our tool. And in some cases we are actually going to say, well, actually we don't support this. In some other cases we may say, well, we do support this, but we have to explain why. So let's just say evaluation properties. I mean, this needs to be translated slightly more accurately at some point. But for now, let's just do a first pass. So pim. Actually, maybe we should just use good old org mode ID. property comment, and if we just interesting. I guess we have to actually have no spaces to. There we go. So P01 and property is PIM support, and P02 is PSM support. The comments for later, I suppose. For now, let's just make sure we capture all of these things. Multiple implementations. Multiple integration. Sorry, I think I'm being called downstairs. Yes, so model integration was the next one. Sorry, being slightly sidetracked here. Interoperability. So P06 transformation definition. P07 model verification. P08 use of patterns. Presumably you're talking about GOF patterns here. P10 support for incremental consistency. 11. Right, so support. This is interesting how we have support for PIM and PSM separately from support for transforms. Support for transforms, model transforms. And maybe we could put this in the comments: PIM to PSM, PSM to PSM, etc. P12. Ah, interesting, a Spanish word that I don't know what it means. Trazabilidad. Trazabilidad. Okay, we'll have to... not quite sure what that means, so we'll leave it there. Development. It's not necessarily the case that we're going to be able to make sense of all of these entries, but it's definitely a starting point, so should we capture them? These are standards. Control and refinement of transforms. And very interesting here. So we have a very, very important point, which is the quality of generated code. Seems like we made a mistake here. And finally, last but not least, we have the support tools. So it's very nice sort of coverage we got here on these sort of dimensions. So properties that are evaluated for each tool is we should evaluate version against these as well. And let's put a fix me here because we should really try to figure out what exactly that means. Righty, so let's continue. So this paper is around 10 pages, so we've done 19 minutes so far, so we should be finishing under an hour. So OptimalJ. OptimalJ de Compuer es una herramienta MDA que utiliza MOF para soportar estándares como UML y XML. Se trata de un entorno de desarrollo que permite generar aplicaciones J2EE completas a partir de un PIM. So we can generate complete applications from a PIM. La versión evaluada en este estudio ha sido OptimalJ Professional Edition 3.0 disponible a través de un convenio de colaboración de nuestro grupo con CompuWare. En OptimalJ, en OptimalJ, existen tres tipos de modelos. It's a bit difficult to read things that are in English and Spanish paper, actually. I'm not quite sure. Modelo del dominio. Modelo que describe el sistema a un alto nivel de abstracción sin detalles de implementación. Corresponde al PIM de la aplicación y su elemento principal es un modelo de clases del negocio. So this is what we call a SIM, presumably. Modelo de la aplicación. Modelo del sistema desde el punto de vista de una tecnología determinada, J2EE. Contiene los PSMs de la aplicación. Se genera automáticamente a partir de un modelo del dominio y está formado pues, por tres modelos. Modelo de base de datos, modelo de interfaz web y modelo 8GB. Modelo de código de aplicación generado a partir de un modelo de la aplicación. Okay? So we have three types of models, so let's just try to capture this. What have we done? Oh, one thing we have forgotten to do, because we've been reading Spanish, we've forgotten to do our highlights, which is not a good thing. Let's just return very quickly to what we just did. Right, I'm just going to fairly randomly highlight something here. Just to make sure we at least capture what we saw. The important factors. Right, so here we wanted something in green, and as usual we're going to have a problem of trying to change colors, I presume. I'm not entirely sure why this happens, but it seems like a few changes of pages gets us what we need. I'm not sure we have anything particularly important here. Perhaps we can grab this bit here. Though this is fairly standard, but important, I guess. Here what we really want is the table. I think the rest is not particularly important. I don't think. Okay, so we can continue now. So now we have these 3 points that I think are quite important. So for these ones, you can just leave a blanket highlight. Yellow is fine. We should probably make a note. Meta I, and what we want here is try 3 types of models. So OptimalJ, was it? OptimalJ. So we have the main model, high level PIM. Though perhaps I wonder if SIM would not be slightly more appropriate. Then we have application model. So this is PSM aspects, I guess, such as J2EE implementation. And then finally we have the code model generated from the other 2 models. Well, to be precise, they actually generated from the application model, but you can imagine this is a cascading approach. But let's just be correct, because that's what the paper states. Now, OptimalJ distingue varios tipos de patrones. Patrones de transformación entre modelos para transformar. So we have to be careful here what it's understood with these Spanish words. Patrones, I assumed, meant patterns. Let's just put here a note somewhere. Words that are not clear. patrones, patterns, traducibilidad. Traducibilidad clearly means trazabilidad. Well, I thought it was going to be something to do with translation, ability to translate, but not entirely sure. That should have been traducibilidad or something similar. Okay. OptimalJ distingue varios tipos de patrones. Patrones de transformación entre modelos. Or should this be modelos? Modelos. This is the other interesting thing about Portuguese people speaking Spanish. We don't really speak Spanish, we speak Portuñol, which is some kind of cross between Spanish and Portuguese. Presumably modelos, should be modelos. Para transformar un PIM en PSM y un PSM en código. So, patrones de transformación. So, well, we have the idea of the transformation patterns, I guess. Here we are. So, patrones funcionales que aplican transformaciones dentro de un modelo. Por ejemplo, refactoring con patrones de diseño GOF. Right, so we're trying to say that there's kind of two different patterns here, types of patterns. Or should we say pattern types, I guess. Perhaps we should continue in the OptimalJ theme. And the types of patterns are transformation pattern. So patterns between models, presumably. Transforming PIM to PSM, PSM to code, etc. And then we have patrones funcionales, so functional patterns. Functional patterns, these are typical GOF patterns. We probably don't have to worry anymore about knowing what patterns means, because clearly it means what we think it means. La figura 1 ilustra cómo se relacionan los modelos OptimalJ y las transformaciones realizadas. So let's explain to us the different transformations from a PIM. We can have a relational, EGB, web. So these PSMs are different types of PSMs. And here, so if we were to compare this to our world, what they've done is they've created a PSM for a technical space, each of the technical spaces, and then the PIM can transform to any of the PSMs. We don't really have this in a formal way, but it's clearly where we're kind of going towards. And then from here we then transform that into, again, technical spaces, with specific code. So up to that is fine, presumably. Del proceso de desarrollo con OptimalJ podemos destacar generación automática a partir del PIM de los modelos PSM de la capa de presentación web, capa de negocio, EGB y base de datos, estableciendo la conexión, puentes, entre las tres capas, como se ve en la figura 1. So it's interesting that there's bridges between all the different types of models, so that's quite advanced. Distinción entre bloques libres y protegidos en el código para impedir la modificación del código generado. Una nueva generación de la aplicación mantiene el código añadido en los bloques libres. Okay, so we need a note on this. Protected region. So again, OptimalJ. Due to open blocks, open regions, well, I'm not sure if this is the right translation, but you get my point. Due to open regions and protected regions, Optimal, I'll just call it OJ, is able to keep code that was manually crafted between generations. something like this, just to keep us in mind. La interfaz web generada proporciona una navegación por defecto para cada objeto de negocio que permite el mantenimiento de los datos asociados a las clases del modelo del dominio. One thing I did forget to say was, I think this is quite an important thing, so perhaps we can go for green here, max permitting. And then we're just talking a little bit about how the interface, the web interface, allows you to create some kind of business objects, and it gives you all the sort of business object-like functionality for the classes in the domain model. However, it's interesting that it states, esa interfaz es muy pobre, pero existe la posibilidad de crear un padrón de presentación que se ajuste a unas necesidades concretas o bien manualmente modificar el código de la aplicación. So clearly the generated code is not particularly brilliant. The idea is that due to the patterns, you're then expected to create, so refactor this pattern and then create something slightly more usable. ArcStyler. ArcStyler de IO Software es una herramienta MDA que también utiliza MOF para soportar estándares como UML, XMI y además JMI para el acceso al repositorio de modelos. No, but I think actually you only need modelos when there's two L's. So I just read it, modelos. Integra herramientas de modelado, UML, y desarrollo, ingeniería inversa, explorador de modelos basado en MOF, construcción y despliegue, no idea what that means, con la arquitectura CARATS, que permite la creación, edición y mantenimiento de cartuchos de MDA. So this is something we're extremely interested in, que definen transformaciones. So ArcStyler basically is similar to what we see in the OptimalJ. ArcStyler is also one of those tools that supports the MDA stack, focuses on MDA technologies such as UML and XMI, gives you round tripping, and it uses all the sort of the usual TLAs like MOF. But very interesting for us is cartridges. So I would like to just highlight this bit here because I've been hunting for more information about cartridges for a bit. También incluye herramientas relacionadas con el modelado del negocio y el modelado de requisitos, por lo que cubre todo el ciclo de vida. So these guys are focusing on a full life cycle. Vamos a comentar brevemente, so perhaps we should probably distinguish between this guy here and the second guy, because I don't particularly care about the life cycle. I do care about cartridges. Vamos a comentar brevemente los aspectos más relevantes de ArcStyler e indicaremos cómo construir una aplicación de 3 capas como la que soporta OptimalJ, arquitectura CARATS. Un cartucho contiene un conjunto de reglas de transformación y se instala como un plugin. Very interesting. So they decided to install, just like a plugin, these cartridges. El lenguaje del script JPython es utilizado para la creación de cartuchos. Actualmente existen numerosos cartuchos para diferentes plataformas como J2EE, .NET, servicios de web, etc. Los cartuchos utilizan perfiles UML para incluir en los modelos aspectos específicos de una plataforma, por ejemplo, un perfil para AJB o Java 2. Una funcionalidad muy potente relacionada con los cartuchos es la herencia de cartuchos, siendo posible definir un cartucho a partir de otro existente. Right, this is extremely interesting. I mean, this is extremely flexible as well, of course, so it's not necessarily the case we need all of this stuff, but given that we've been trying to find more about cartridges, yes, we are using the wrong technology then. Let's just say ArcStyler cartridges. So according to the authors, this tool has a very advanced system for the management of cartridges. So they use UML profiles for the integration of cartridges with modeling. For example, it defines UML profile that exposes the AGB or Java to PSM functionality. There is a cartridge management system that handles them like plugins. It's possible to define one cartridge, so new cartridges from existing ones. Okay. A través de cartuchos podríamos, presumably we could, definir todos los modelos de OptimalJ. En this link se puede encontrar una introducción a la arquitectura CART y los cartuchos. Okay, so this is interesting. It's possible that we may want to visit this later. I always forget that in order to copy in a PDF, one must use the standard Emacs copying and pasting. Info the CART architecture. I can't actually spell because now it's getting mixed between Portuguese, Spanish and English. Can be found here. Let's just leave it at that. Marcas. En cada especificación de MDA se distingue dos modos de anotar un PIM con información específica de una plataforma. Correspondencia de tipos, Model Type Mapping, y correspondencia de instancias, Model Instance Mapping. So by marcas, what we really mean is tagging, I believe. Let's just put this here. And so we seem to be tagging model types. So correspondencia de tipos, model type mapping, y correspondencia de instancias, model instance mapping. Okay, a couple of types of mapping. ArcStyler, let's just see what's 5 actually, because this is a paper that's... Okay, there's something specific to MDA. We do have this guide somewhere. Let's create a bibliography here. More on model instance mapping and model type mapping. Okay, let's just get a copy of this. Not necessarily sure we're going to need to look at this, but right, so we are slowing down a little bit. So, las marcas son anotaciones sobre elementos de un modelo que proporcionan informaciones a los cartuchos y que junto con los estereotipos dirigen una transformación. Un cartucho proporciona una definición del conjunto de marcas permitiendo para una determinada plataforma. Okay, so we expose what's available for the PSMs via the tagging. Una marca se define con la siguiente información: tipo de dato asociado, elementos del modelo a los que se aplica y valor por defecto. Un editor inteligente de marcas evalúa las definiciones en tiempo de modelado y proporciona el soporte apropiado para marcar los modelos para una plataforma específica. So there's some kind of so what we're trying to achieve with this is there's some kind of tagging that we can apply to models, and the cartridges have associated with it a set of tags, and those are allowed for each platform, and then we have certain properties of the tags, the kind of data that we have got, the models, and some kind of value, and then there's an ID for it. So it's not entirely clear exactly what's going on here, so we'll just keep that in mind. These are basically just what you have to understand is these are just the features that we've got in ArcStyler that are relevant. So the first one is the character architecture, which we're quite interested. Then we got this tagging business, and next we got this framework accessor. So establece un proceso bien definido para elaborar la capa de presentación de las aplicaciones. Mediante la definición de un modelo asesor se define el flujo de control y el flujo de datos de la capa de presentación de un modelo abstracto. En el proceso de generación de código, el modelo asesor se implementa para una tecnología determinada. En el caso de PetStore, utilizamos el cartucho Web Accessor que genera ficheros JSP y Java servlets. Un modelo asesor incluye dos tipos de elementos. So the framework accessor is basically how you create a presentation for an application. So this is mainly to do, if you think of this in terms of typical stacks, this is the front end. Un accesor juega el rol de un controlador, and there we go, so we're entering now MVC. En la arquitectura MVC describe el flujo de control de una interfaz externa. Este comportamiento se modela en un diagrama de estados extendido de UML. So we use a state machine to model this. El representer juega el rol de una vista en la arquitectura MVC. Se usa para describir un componente básico de la interfaz de usuario, por ejemplo, una página JSP o ASP.NET. Se modela mediante hojas de propiedades, hojas, no the Spanish word, I have no idea what it means. Oh yes, pages. De propiedades especiales proporcionadas por ArcStyler. Right, so MVC, we have two levels of MVC. We have the controller and the view, and this is all part of the framework accessor. Okay, fine, let's not detain ourselves too much with this. En nuestra opinión, un elemento accesor corresponde a un caso de uso del sistema expresado de forma detallada y concreta. El diagrama de estados asociado a un asesor establece. Okay, now that's sorted out. So we were just, oh yes, here we go. So en nuestra opinión, un elemento asesor corresponde a un caso de uso del sistema expresado de forma detallada y concreta. El diagrama de estados asociado a un asesor establece la secuencia de acciones que caracteriza un determinado caso de uso. Esta analogía representa muy interesante en desarrollo dirigido por casos de uso. Okay, so this is all to do use cases. I'm not entirely sure I fully understand what they're saying here, but the idea is that each of these access elements, as we've seen, is the controller. It's roughly a use case of the system that you're trying to model, and then you can model that use case with the state diagram, the state machine. I'm not entirely sure we're going to waste too much time on this because this is really stuff that if we do add it, it's going to be very later on. So we just need to know that these things exist. So para generar una aplicación de 3 capas similar a lo que ha desarrollado con OptimalJ, tendríamos que 1. Utilizar el cartucho AGB en la red de WSL8 que hereda de AGB. 2. Tener presente que en ArcStyler no existe un modelo explícito de base de datos, sino que está implícito en el modelo AGB, de modo que WSL8 genera una tabla de base de datos por cada componente AGB y controla mediante marcas los aspectos de la base de datos. Y 3. Utilizar un cartucho Web Accessor con varios accessors and representers para obtener el modelo web. So what they try and say here is basically that whilst there's a lot of functionality that this chap, the ArcStyler has out of the box, it's more like they're giving you the tools rather than give you the final product. So you're going to end up spending a bit of time trying to get all those things together to give similar functionality to what we've got in OptimalJ. So that's fine. So now let's just see what exactly we learned in terms of comparative study. Tras evaluar OptimalJ y ArcStyler mediante el desarrollo de la aplicación PetStore con cada una de ellas, realizamos una valoración individual que puede encontrarse en 8 y una comparación de las dos herramientas para analizar en qué medida satisfacían las propiedades de la tabla ON. Cada una de las propiedades es valorada de 0 a 4, nulo, mínimo, medio, bueno, excelente. So these are the characteristics that how they measure. So if you just jump quickly to our lovely table, measured as 0 to 4. Could just add a note here and translate that later. Oh, Swiper just kicked in. Según el grado en que es soportada por la herramienta. Presentamos aquí un resumen de las conclusiones obtenidas para las propiedades principales. No aparecen las propiedades interoperabilidad, P05, soporte de estándares, P14, y calidad del código, P16, ya que las dos primeras son claramente satisfechas a través de XMI, en el soporte de estándares como MOF y YAML, el repositorio MOF. En cuanto a la tercera, ambas herramientas generan el código de calidad gracias al uso extensivo de patrones de diseño. So, one thing that I would like to say here is they're more interested in making sure the code is using design patterns. So I don't like that. Let's just highlight this. So what we want to say is focus on design patterns. So authors seem to imply that the use of design patterns, the extensive even, the extensive use of design patterns is sufficient to determine the quality of the generated code. We disagree with this opinion. So for us it's quite clear that's not really how you measure the quality of the code. I mean, that's one factor, but there's not all of them, and besides we can obviously overuse patterns. So we're going to leave it at that for now. Soporte para PIM. Tanto OptimalJ como ArcStyler permiten crear modelos independientes de la plataforma bastante completos. En el caso de OptimalJ, el PIM del sistema está representado por el modelo de clases. Este modelo tan solo incluye un detalle de la plataforma que en nuestra opinión no debería aparecer en el PIM, la clave primaria de una clase, su restricción de unidad asociada. Presumably this is a typo. Unicidad. Restricción de unicidad, whether it's multiple or not. Que son aspectos propios del modelo de base de datos. Sin embargo, ArcStyler no muestra el detalle en el modelo, sino que establece la clave primaria de una clase mediante una marca. Okay, so we're just looking at the quality of the models now. Let's probably not detain ourselves too much on here. So basically what they're now going to do is they're going to look at each of these characteristics and see how they get implemented in each of the tools. Now, of course this is important, but what we're trying to get at is we're more interested in the fact that these dimensions kind of emerged from their analysis rather than the specifics of the tools. So for example, the bit that I just read is just talking about how they started modeling things like a primary key in the PIM, whereas they believe the primary key is actually a concept that exists only at a sort of relational level, so it's more of a PSM thing. Now, I don't agree with that entirely, but this is a conversation for another topic, another time. But B, I think we're just getting a bit too much in the nitty-gritty details. En ArcStyler no hay un PIM único que dirija todo el desarrollo de la aplicación, sino que realmente tenemos dos PIMs independientes, el modelo de clases que definimos los EGB y el modelo asesor que accede a las entidades del modelo de clases. Como resultado, tenemos dos PIM que están estrechamente relacionados. Esto contrasta con el PIM único que OptimalJ, punto de partida de todo el desarrollo y mediante el cual se generan el resto de los modelos. Okay, so one of the applications is more cleaner in the way they implement PIMs in PSMs. Por otra parte, ArcStyler proporciona las dos formas de anotar un PIM que se detallaron en la especificación de UML a través de estereotipos y marcas. Pero igual, so perhaps we should highlight this. Donkey. See if we can resume to our previous slides. Where were we? Something about stereotypes in tagging. Yes. This chap here. So, in effect, what they're trying to say here is how clean is this modeling of PIMs in PSMs. So I use now starting to mix and match PIMs and PSMs and things like that. Por ejemplo, si queremos añadir un método de búsqueda distinto al de clave primaria, debe definirse en el PIM. Conceptualmente debería hacerse a nivel de PSM, pues representa una operación que solo tiene sentido para la plataforma GB. No obstante, al no disponer en ArcStyler de PSM explícitos, la única alternativa es definir las operaciones en el PIM, enmarañándolo con detalles dependientes de la plataforma. Okay, so we're just mixing and matching PIMs y PSMs. That's not particularly relevant. Soporte para PSM. El proceso típico de desarrollo con MDA contempla como pasos principales la transformación de un PIM para APSM de uno o más PSM a código. OptimalJ sigue fielmente este esquema, generando a partir del PIM 3 tipos de PSM que interactúan entre sí. So basically, these chaps here are extremely clean and they follow this. Oh my days! Why are we unable to press the right keys today? These chaps here are very strict and make sure that their PSMs, they first go from PIMs to PSMs and don't sort of start hacking around. Aunque estos PSM no son muy expresivos y permiten una flexibilidad limitada, nos proporciona un modelo intermedio entre PIM y código en el que podemos definir elementos específicos de una plataforma que no tiene sentido en el PIM, como métodos de búsqueda o métodos home para la plataforma GB, roles de seguridad para la capa web o vistas de las tablas del modelo de base de datos. ArcStyler, por contra, carece de PSM específicos, sino que utiliza un PIM estereotipado y marcas para generar directamente el código de la aplicación para una determinada plataforma. Como vimos en el aparato anterior, esto provoca que algunos aspectos de la plataforma destino deban modelarse en el PIM. So, I mean, I'm not sure how much we should spend really trying to... Oh, good lord. Q? That was not the Q that we wanted. Let's just resume org noter. And there we are in papers. We just managed to quit org noter. Oh, the reason why is presumably because you're not in the right place. So if I just do org noter here. Oh, interesting. This could be... what have we done? We're not in the right place, so there we are. It seems to... there we are. So if I just start org noter from here, hopefully. Yes, now then. So... yeah, so we're just talking about cleanness and more cleanness between PIMs and PSMs and all that good stuff. Permite varias implementaciones. Una de las claves de MDA consiste en permitir varias plataformas de implementación a partir de un mismo PIM. En este aspecto existe una gran diferencia entre las dos herramientas. OptimalJ permite generar 3 tipos distintos de PSM relacionados entre sí y dirigidos a generar una aplicación para la plataforma J2EE. La única variación posible consiste en generar servicios web a partir del modelo AGB e integrar la aplicación con las aplicaciones externas utilizando Corva o servicios web. En definitiva, se trata de una herramienta cerrada y el soporte para la nueva plataforma no debe proporcionar. Okay, so let's go for a kind of a big fat one here. So the authors are not entirely pleased with the extensibility in the case of OptimalJ. Let's go for red. So it's very sort of closed, I guess, in the way that you can extend it. And mainly the key point is worried about is the PSM, the orchestration between PSM and how you target multiple platforms. It seems like it's fairly hard-coded to an approach. En el polo opuesto está ArcStyler con la arquitectura Carrot. De partida incorpora numerosos cartuchos MDA, cada uno de los cuales soporta una determinada plataforma. So here we got the exact opposite approach. This chap is allowing pretty much lots and lots of cartridges. And of course you can still create more, which is one of the notes that they mentioned a lot. Esta estructura abierta de ArcStyler hace que no le dependa exclusivamente del soporte suministrado por el fabricante, permitiendo a una empresa adaptarse a nuevas tecnologías mediante la creación de nuevos cartuchos. So they give it a very glowing review here, basically saying that just because you can start messing around with the cartridges, you're not stuck. Your vendor lock-in is much reduced. So that seems like an important point. Integración de modelos. Una ventaja de OptimalJ es que genera automáticamente los puentes que conectan las tres capas de la aplicación, lo cual es factible al estar orientada por una plataforma concreta. Con el código generado obtenemos una aplicación totalmente operativa en la que los JSP de la interfaz web interactúan con los AGB del modelo del negocio y estos AGB con las tablas de la base de datos de forma totalmente transparente al desarrollador. So this guy here gives you proper full application support, OptimalJ. Once you develop the thing, you just press a button and as if by magic, out comes a complete solution that is actually talking to a database and giving you a full web interface. The reason why this is possible is because they integrate all the models, and this model integration gives you the power to generate sort of full stack, presumably. Sin embargo, en ArcStyler esta integración es más complicada. Okay, this is understandable because, like I said, ArcStyler is more like tools rather than the finished thing. Al poder elegir entre tantas implementaciones posibles, un cartucho no siempre será capaz de generar los puentes adecuados para comunicarse con los elementos generados por otro cartucho, puesto que necesita conocer cómo interactuar con los dichos elementos. Será la responsabilidad de cada cartucho generar los puentes adecuados. En el caso de Pet Store, hemos encontrado este problema en la comunicación entre el modelo Web Accessor y el modelo LGB. This is really, really important. So, trade-offs between integration and extensibility. So the two applications take very different approaches. OptimalJ focuses its support mainly, we forgot to put autofill mode, mainly on J2EE and AGB. This allows it to provide round tripping and deep integration between PIM and PSM and generate a complete functional product. However, the company tightly controls the product and users cannot extend it at will. On the other hand, we just did OptimalJ with ArcStyler is openly extensible, but the downside is that cartridges are responsible for making sure they interoperate. This means that sometimes things don't work well with each other. Okay. Definición de transformaciones. La versión evaluada de OptimalJ no permite acceder a las definiciones de transformaciones que están incluidas en los llamados padrones de transformación. No obstante, la edición OptimalJ Architecture Edition permite crear nuevos padrones de transformación, PIM, PSM o código. En ArcStyler, la arquitectura CARAT permite acceder a las definiciones de las transformaciones. Desde la misma herramienta podemos extender un cartucho existente y modificarlo para satisfacer ciertos requisitos. Al igual que sucede con los patrones de transformación de OptimalJ, crear un nuevo cartucho es una tarea complicada, pero una vez construido se dispone de soporte para una nueva plataforma y puede aprovecharse para múltiples proyectos. So the key thing here is the OptimalJ. I mean, it's very similar to what we just said. Is how do you access the guts of it? Can you see the transforms? What are the transforms doing? Can you extend them? Can you create new ones? Exactly the same sort of situations we had before. Verificación de modelos. OptimalJ comprueba la corrección de un modelo antes de aplicar cualquier transformación. Okay, so now this is quite important. Dispone para ello de un verificador para PIM y otro para cada tipo de PSM, cuyas comprobaciones están bien documentadas en el manual de la herramienta. So this guy here is very clever and is able to do proper verification and validation of the models. I'm gonna go on a limb and assume the other one doesn't do that, because they seem to be giving such a glowing review. ArcStyler también, I'm wrong. ArcStyler también permite usar verificaciones de modelos, pero no los incorpora, sino que cada cartucho debe encargarse de implementar el verificador de sus modelos de entrada. So we leave it to each cartridge to do the verification. So of course there's going to be different levels of support. Cabe destacar que para los cartuchos usados en nuestra evaluación, Web Accessor en WSL8, no hay documentación disponible sobre las comprobaciones que llevan a cabo sus respectivos verificadores. Además, muchos errores pasan despercibidos para el verificador y se trasladan a la fase de la generación del código, donde resulta complicado detectar el elemento del modelo que produjo el fallo. Okay, this is again quite important, and we should probably go for a red one on this. The idea here is that let's see if these words work. A lot of times we end up generating code that doesn't actually work because we don't have proper detection. Expresividad de los modelos. I mean, we are really overrunning now, 1 hour already, and we are on page 8, so it's not too far. Expresividad de los modelos. Es muy importante que los modelos incluidos en la herramienta sean lo más expresivos posibles. De esta manera, el desarrollador tendrá mayor flexibilidad y precisión a la hora de describir las distintas partes del sistema. La importancia de esta propiedad queda patente al comparar el modelo web de ambas herramientas. Mientras que ArcStyler proporciona el modelo accesor y permite diseñar interfaces gráficas a medida, en OptimalJ tenemos un modelo de presentación poco expresivo, de muy alta granularidad, que no permite especificar el flujo de control de la navegación web, imprescindible para construir aplicaciones a medida. Modificar la navegación generada por defecto es bastante complejo y requiere cambios en el código fuente generado o bien definir nuestros propios patrones. So, the models are not particularly expressive, and So the first thing is we need to make sure the models are as expressive as possible, understood. Again, clearly we want to make sure that you give the flexibility to the developer, and we basically see that ArcStyler allows developers to do pretty much whatever they like. In OptimalJ, we can't really do that. There's very, very little leeway. So basically, one is the out-of-the-box approach, the other one is the extensibility approach. So that's fine. Uso de patrones. OptimalJ utiliza patrones de forma extensiva, tanto a nivel interno de los modelos, patrones de código, patrones de diseño, patrones del dominio, como en la generación de modelos, patrones de tecnología y patrones de implementación. Sin embargo, en ArcStyler, el uso de patrones se establece en los cartuchos. En la documentación de los cartuchos utilizados apenas se mencionan unos pocos patrones, como el front controller para los accesor o el compact bean para los RGB. So we don't really care too much about this. So basically, how much are they using patterns, right? So it's fine. Soporte para la consistencia incremental. This is more interesting. En ambas herramientas, los cambios realizados manualmente en el código se conservan cuando se regenera toda la aplicación mediante la distinción entre bloque libre y bloque protegido. En el caso de OptimalJ, también existe consistencia incremental sobre un PSM limitada a un pequeño conjunto de cambios. Así, algunos cambios realizados en PSM se trasladan a otros PSM en el PIM. Por ejemplo, un cambio realizado en el modelo de base de datos se refleja también en los modelos de AJB en web. So the key thing here is that so what they call incremental consistency. I mean, I think there's a bit of a confusion between consistency, incremental processing, and the merging strategies here. But the key thing is that they both support some kind of merging strategy, so you can change the generated code, and the model kind of knows that you changed it, and it preserves it in transformations. I don't think there's enough here for us to get excited about. That's an interesting point. Soporte de transformaciones entre modelos. Además de las transformaciones PIM PSM en PSM código, las herramientas ofrecen un soporte limitado para otros tipos de transformaciones. OptimalJ proporciona lo llamado patrones funcionales que aplican la transformación dentro de un modelo, y en el caso de ArcStyler, la única transformación encontrada consiste en generar un modelo de asesor genérico a partir del modelo de clases, lo cual es posible gracias a los generic accessors pertenecientes al framework accessor. Again, we are talking a little bit about how you go from the different levels of representation and so forth. Again, we're not particularly too fussed about this. Trazabilidad. OptimalJ registra todas las transformaciones. I think this is tracing actually. Realizadas por un patrón de transformación. Gracias a este registro se puede conocer que el elemento del PIM corresponde a un determinado elemento del PSM, clase atributo, y su destino en el código, fichero de código o paquete, script de base de datos, etc. Sin embargo, OptimalJ no se aprovecha esta información para actualizar cambios. En el caso de ArcStyler no existe tal registro. Now, I would like to make this a really, really important point. Tracing. It is very important to trace all elements such that one can tell what model elements generated which files. Our tracing at present is mostly concerned with obtaining model state before and after transforms and is not designed for end users. However, reports detailing who generated what would be extremely helpful. This is a story we can put on the backlog. We have already, as you probably have noticed, we already have dump specs, and dump specs enables us to dump any information about the code generator. So it's something like dump specs that enables you the tracing, a bit like these chaps mentioned here. It's quite a useful thing. Soporte de ciclo de vida y herramientas de soporte. OptimalJ permite controlar prácticamente todas las fases del ciclo de vida sin necesidad de utilizar otras herramientas, pero no incluye soporte para el manejo de requisitos, sino que se parte del PIM. ArcStyler no incorpora herramientas para las fases de codificación y despliegue. Lord knows what despliegue means. Ya que no dispone de un editor de código propio y no incluye servidores de aplicaciones ni herramientas de construcción. No obstante, gracias al mecanismo de extensibilidad de ArcStyler, podemos integrar en el entorno editores de código externos como JBuilder. Es importante señalar, aunque no hemos evaluado todavía, que ArcStyler incorpora herramientas para el modelado de negocio y el modelado de requisitos como pasos previos a la construcción del PIM. So we're really talking about how this tool integrates on the wider environment. We are not going to try to cover that too much in our current state of the world, but well, I think that's probably sufficient for now. Control y refinamiento de transformaciones. El control de las transformaciones en OptimalJ es bastante limitado y se reduce la modificación de algunas propiedades disponibles en el cuadro de propiedades de determinados elementos del modelo que pueden considerarse parámetros de transformación. Un tipo de parametrización lo encontramos en el atributo de clases del PIM, para lo que es posible, por ejemplo, establecer la longitud que tendrá el dato en la base de datos o especificar una expresión en Java para el valor inicial. En ArcStyler, sin embargo, existe un soporte más completo para controlar y ajustar las transformaciones, gracias a las marcas asociadas a cada elemento del modelo. Una gran variedad de marcas proporciona al desarrollador una gran versatilidad en la hora de dirigir el proceso de transformación, algo que en OptimalJ no es posible. Right, so I actually disagree slightly with this. They basically try and say that the best way to control transforms is by providing you tagging, and that's not entirely. I think we probably should distinguish between things like default values and stuff like that, and control of transforms. So I don't think I entirely agree with this, but I think for now we'll just leave it at that. This is the summary of the evaluation. And again, the details are probably not the most important thing here. So, MDA está en su infancia y todavía queda mucho para mejorar, pero con herramientas como OptimalJ y ArcStyler podemos afirmar que MDA ya es una realidad. A continuación, resumimos las conclusiones de nuestro estudio. Creemos que OptimalJ refleja más fielmente el proceso MDA con una clara separación entre el PIM y los PSM, mientras que ArcStyler el PIM se transforma directamente en código. So, okay, basically we're trying to say now is which of these tools is more MDA than the other, really. Mientras que la versión evaluada de OptimalJ está orientada a la plataforma J2EE, ArcStyler es una herramienta abierta que permite generar código para diferentes plataformas mediante la arquitectura Karat. Sin embargo, debemos señalar que la versión OptimalJ Architecture Edition proporciona un mecanismo similar a través del lenguaje TPL. So they obviously got some kind of template-based language that enables you to extend what appeared to be a very close system, OptimalJ. OptimalJ es una herramienta que en pocas horas permite crear de forma sencilla una aplicación básica para la plataforma J2EE a partir de un simple modelo de clases, generando código de calidad. We have to slightly disagree here with the código de calidad, y aplicando patrones de diseño. Sin embargo, tiene algunas carencias que todavía necesita mejorar para permitir la construcción de aplicaciones a medida, sobre todo en relación al modelo de interfaces de usuario. So I'm going to take a note here, because I think the key point we're trying to say here is that yes, it does allow you to create a full application from a simple class model, but it's very, well, you get what you get given basically, so it's not very extensible, it's not very pretty, it just kind of works. And so that's the trade-offs we have here. En ArcStyler el esfuerzo de desarrollo es mayor, ya que el programador debe escribir el código de integración de modelos. Sin embargo, dispone de un buen mecanismo para el diseño de las interfaces gráficas a través del modelo accessor. So again, we spoke about this several times. One is extensible, the other one isn't. ArcStyler ofrece al desarrollador una mayor versatilidad a la hora de describir los modelos, dirigir las transformaciones y elegir distintas implementaciones. Same thing. La comparación ha puesto de manifiesto importantes decisiones de diseño para una herramienta MDA, como son la forma de anotar el PIN, que el PSM sea implícito o explícito, la naturaleza cerrada o abierta para soportar cualquier tecnología y los mecanismos para la edición y ajuste de las transformaciones. Como trabajo futuro, nos planteamos el estudio de algunos aspectos de estas dos herramientas, como el lenguaje TPL de OptimalJ, la capacidad de modelado de negocio y modelado de requisitos de ArcStyler y del framework Accessor para definir un proceso dirigido por caso de estudio, por caso de uso, y un estudio más profundo de la arquitectura Carrot. También estamos evaluando otras herramientas de MDA como MDA y Andrómeda, y refinando el marco de comparación para completar el trabajo realizado hasta la fecha. Por otra parte, nuestro grupo ha arrancado el proyecto FrameWeb destinado a crear un entorno y proceso para el desarrollo dirigido por modelos de aplicaciones web. So, okay, to summarize their conclusions, they just basically started to say that the two tools have got very different characteristics. They're focusing on comparing those characteristics to the vision of MDA. Basically, they show us the typical trade-offs of the more open you are, the less consistent and validated and coherent the tool is. The more closed you are, the better those things are. But then the downside is you get some end result is not particularly brilliant. So it's just the usual trade-offs. And finally, they seem to have gone and tried to decide to make their own little tool specifically for web models. So all in all, if you were to summarize this paper, it was a very interesting paper. What I really like about this paper is that it gives us a vision of the tool, especially at the time, 2006, that sort of way, what people are doing and what they consider important. And also will give us a little framework to which we can apply to Dojan and use that to determine what we think is important and how we fare across these dimensions here, which is actually quite a useful thing. Now we know what really that means. We can just type here tracing. So I think that's all. It was actually quite a useful paper, and thanks for watching.